Any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Hello, I'm Earl Stewart. I welcome you to Earl Stewart on Cars, a live talk show all about how to buy, lease, maintain, or repair your car without being ripped off by a car dealer. With me in the studio is Nancy Stewart, my wife, co-host, and a strong consumer advocate, especially for our female listeners. We also have Rick Kearney, an expert on how to keep your car running right. I dare you to ask a question that Rick can't answer about the mechanics or electronics of your car. Also with us is my son, Stu Stewart. Our link to cyberspace through Facebook, YouTube, text messaging, and our encrypted anonymous feedback service. Stu is also the Spymaster Director of our Mystery Shopping Report. He dispatches our secret shopper weekly to an unsuspecting car dealership. And now, on with the show. Good morning, everybody. I say this a lot, but I really am live. I've had Nancy and I have been off the live show. We took a little R&R, and we've had some other issues, but we're back. Nancy Stewart, my co-host, and me. We got Rick Kearney, who would have been here, and Iggy, who our producer, who would have been here, but we weren't here, so we had to run the reruns. And every time I say that, I realize that when I say we're live, we can't use this as a rerun, but we'll try to be careful. Nancy and I have been doing this show, 20, I say about 20 years, probably closer to 25 now, but it's basically about how to buy or lease a car, maintain or repair that car without being taken advantage of by a car dealer. And I have to keep reminding myself when I'm speaking that most of the people listening and viewing haven't heard us before. I mean, or at least not regularly. So we've got some old timers out there, and I mean, really some loyal people, and that listen week after week after week. And we know that because when we miss a show, they let us know. And my apologies to all you super loyal listeners, the ladies and the gentlemen that religiously follow our show. But we've got to build the show. And we have a lot of people that tune in, tune out. And if we can catch their ear, like I'm trying to right now, we can keep them. So let me tell you right now that we get off on subjects of exciting, interesting things like autonomous cars and electric cars and all the excitement that we see on the evening news or read online. But we know and we recognize that most of you folks out there are driving, I guess you could say, old-fashioned cars. They weren't old-fashioned until about 5 or 6 years ago when suddenly autonomy came on strong and electric vehicles came on strong. So if you're driving a combustion engine car and you've been driving for the past 10 years, you're at the right place. We got a guy named Rick Kearney, and he's sitting next to me, and his fingers are flying on his laptop as I speak, and he has got a huge following on YouTube. And we know that most of you people listening can get value from the show by finding out whether or not you should bring your car in to a repair service or to a car dealer to get it fixed. And I say, that doesn't sound exciting, does it? But knowing whether to go in there can cost you thousands of dollars. And a call to this show at 877-960-9960. And don't worry about it. We're going to repeat this number a lot because we have a lot of folks that are timid. You know, you don't want to call. And if you don't have the number handy, we know you're not going to call. But if you want to write this number down, grab a pencil, get out your iPhone, tap it in, text it, whatever you want to do. 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. Now, Nancy Stewart, my co-host, who just passed me a cough drop.
From me to you.
For my raspy. Thank you, honey. She is watching her laptop just like Rick is watching his laptop. But Nancy is a call screener. And when a call comes in, she throws a tomato at me because sometimes you have to hit me in the head to get my attention. But she wants to answer your phone call. And if the phone call's for Rick Kearney, it goes right to Rick. I got a tendency to yak a lot, and I've been in the business for, I lose track, at least a half a century. And so I have too much to talk about. I mean, I can tell you about Henry Ford. I don't mean literally. But my father did know Henry Ford. So, yeah, I can talk a lot. But the key is to get your questions answered. And if you have a squeak, rattle, or roll in your car, call 877-960-9960 and ask, hey, Rick, is this dangerous? Could this cause damage to my car or to me? Is this going to be expensive? He might say, well, describe the rattle, describe the noise, or describe the smell, or where is it located? Does a wheel pull to the left or the right? He'll ask you a few questions like that. You answer them, and you're going to get a diagnosis that might save you thousands of dollars. 877-960-9960. Now, the other cool part of this show, and Nancy Stewart gets all the credit for this. She's been attracting women to call for years and years, and we're at even now. We're 50-50. Women callers were like hen's teeth at one time. Now we have a nice bunch of lady callers. And why is that valuable? Because women, they're treated differently. I don't want to get too political here, but the fact of the matter is, if you're a woman and you go into a retail store, especially a car dealership, you just don't get treated quite as respectfully and transparently as if you're a man. But we're curing that problem, and Nancy Stewart is the general of that war. And if you will call 877-960-9960, and you're female, you haven't called before, she's got a really cool reward for you. She is going to give you something that sounds too good to be true, but it's not. 877-960-9960. Now, with all that said, I am now going to turn the microphone over to my wife, my partner on this show, co-founder, and the love of my life, Nancy Stewart.
How sweet. It's good to be back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some normalcy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We can't thank you enough for staying in touch with us this time that we were off. The text messages, the phone calls. We have quite a following, and as I say, every week you are a very important part of the show. So give us a call toll-free at 877-960-9960. You can also text us at 772-497-6530. And you can also get in touch with us at youranonymousfeedback.com. Excuse me. I think Earl and I have a raspy throats this morning. So hope we still sound pretty good. I have to extend a special thank you to all the ladies that have supported me and have stayed in touch with me. And for the ones who are just tuning in this morning, I'm going to let you know that the first two new lady callers, you can receive a $50 Amazon gift certificate. It's emailed directly to you as you give it, well, as you talk to Jeremy in the control room. He takes your contact information, and I keep, that in my records too, just to make sure that you get the $50 Amazon gift card, and if you want to get in touch with me. But at any rate, back to the $50 Amazon gift certificate, it's emailed directly to you as you give your contact information to Jeremy in the control room. And I have to ask a question this morning for the ladies, and just to ask you, how many of you have gone into a dealership recently, or maybe even the past? You would want to share a story with me, or with us, I should say, but you felt rushed, you felt talked down to, you felt pressured. It was just a very uncomfortable situation, but you were there to buy a car, and that was more important. So you continued to try to communicate with that salesperson. It can be a difficult and uncomfortable situation, but ladies, your voice must be heard, and you definitely can take control of the situation. And there's things that you can do prior to going into a dealership, if you so choose. And normally I advise there's no reason to go into the dealership unless you're picking up your vehicle. So keep that in mind. You have a PC. If you don't have one, you have the library. There's so many options, but most importantly, doing your homework. Doing your homework is most important, and I'll go over some of those options for you and how you need to prepare to buy a used car, a new car, to lease a car. You're in control, ladies, so don't forget that. We're going to have an interesting mystery shopping report from a Southern 441 Nissan. That's always a very, very interesting, part of the country. They definitely have their, I don't know what to say about them. There are no words. I'd have to get my dictionary out, and even there, they wouldn't be able to describe these people, but they do things a different way. 877-960-9960. And don't forget 772-497-6530. Take advantage of youranonymousfeedback.com. Earl has a very interesting column this week, and that column is in the Hometown News and the Florida Weekly. And it's something definitely that you should take advantage of and read. And there's one column that he did that I'm always talking about, and it's pretty old by now. I'm saying 3 months, and that is the deal. The deal we don't talk about. That is another interesting piece of his work. So this week, the Florida Weekly and the Hometown News will reflect his most recent column, and that is the car dealer's oath. You want to take a look at that, and if you're headed out to purchase a vehicle, take some notes and take all of that with you. We want to help you in any way we can. 877-960-9960, 772-497-6530. I think we're going to go straight to the phones.
Sounds good.
We have all of our regulars that are lined up. Okay, we are going to go to Howard. He's patiently been waiting. Hopefully he's right here in Florida and not in New York. Hi, Howard.
Unfortunately, I'm still here because I'm selling my condo, and it's almost sold, but I'm going to be here till probably the end of February.
Mamma mia.
I know. You know what it is to drive in snow. I'm sure, because you're from Pennsylvania. But I'm sure Floridians don't know what it is. But I have a question for Rick.
Hey, Howard, I want to share with you my experience of my last drive in Pittsburgh. Coming down a hill, this is during a snowstorm, backwards. My car flipped around, and it was, I'm laughing now, but it certainly made me seasoned. That's all I can say. It was an experience that I'll never forget. I finally became I got my head together and I was able to save my life. But I did hit another car in the meantime. But it was interesting. It was just a little dent compared to how fast I was going. There should have been a whole lot more damage around me. But I got out pretty lucky. Just thought I'd share that with you.
Okay. I have a question for Rick about winter driving. I don't know if Rick, have you ever driven in the winter?
Very rarely.
North?
I mean, maybe a half dozen times at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my question. I have pretty good tires, but I have my better tires in the front. Now, since this is, I have a Camry, it's a front-wheel drive, should I put my better tires on the front driving in snow? What is the best way to do it? Better tires in the front when driving in snow, or should I leave them in the rear?
I believe at this point the NHTSA still recommends that the best tires should be in the back, simply because the rear tires, when you're stepping on the brakes, the rear tires are more likely to lift up and lose the extra weight in the back, and therefore they're more likely, if the tread is thinner, to lose the contact patch and actually allow the back end to start to slide, so you can wind up kind of fishtailing effect. However, for snowy weather, I recommend always make sure your tires have at least 30 seconds of tread or more, just because as that snow packs into the tread, you're going to have issues. And of course, winter snow tires, for those in the north, they're a must.
Okay. All right. So I'll keep the tires and the good tires. They're both good, front and back, but the rear almost new. So you're saying I should keep the good tires, the better tires in the rear.
That's
even though I'm driving in snow.
Yeah, that's the best that I've heard so far, mainly because of the weight distribution when you're braking.
Yeah.
And because,
okay, I got it.
Yeah, and a front-wheel drive car, of course, is actually going to have a much easier time in the snow, because pretty much any time you think of trying to move a load, you can actually pull things sometimes a lot easier than you can push them. So, and a rear-wheel drive is trying to push the car forwards, whereas a front-wheel drive, it's actually pulling the car forwards from the front.
Okay, now on my car, I cannot put a U-haul on there, hook it to the rear, because I don't think the transmission is built for that. Is that correct?
No, Toyota definitely does not recommend any sort of towing with a Camry.
Okay.
The most I've seen is they will install like a Class 1 hitch for like the ease of putting like a bicycle rack on the back of one.
I got it, yeah. Okay, now I have a question about a trade-in.
Uh-huh.
I just had a paint job recall on the 040 paint, and so the whole car was painted. This added to the value of the car when I traded in.
Yes.
It will. Yes, it will, because having a fresh, clean paint job, the car looks better, and buyers are going to obviously flock to a nice, shiny car versus a car with dull, washed-out paint, dried out. However, when you go to trade it in, if they ask about it, let them know that it was done as a warranty concern because of that paint and not because of accident damage. Because obviously, if they're going with a paint meter and checking your paint around, they might see, this has been repainted. And just, in that case, that's one of the few times that I would be up front and say, hey, look, I had a warranty paint job done by Toyota because of this reason. It was not an accident. It was simply because of the paint peeling issue.
Yeah, well, let me jump in there. In most cases, that's true. But when the car dealer appraises a car, he's either going to wholesale it, and oftentimes when he retails it, all the buyer is going to know is that it was repainted. And even if you tell him why it was repainted, when he owns that car and trades it in, the story might not be passed down. All people know. So when a CarMax report comes out, it's going to say repainted. It isn't going to say why it was repainted. It'll just say it was repainted. So the thing to remember is when you choose to repaint a car, be prepared. It will devalue your car. If it hasn't been in an accident, an appraiser should be able to tell that also. But the paint damage or the paint repaint will be noted by everybody, including CarMax.
Yeah. Now there is one other factor to that.
I mean, Carfax.
If you go to the manufacturer of whatever car you're looking at to buy, if you're looking for a Toyota, go to Toyota and ask them to pull up the service history, and then they can, they're not going to give you any personal information, but they can tell you then, oh yeah, that was a warranty repaint from the service history.
No, I'm going to buy a new car from Earl, so I don't think it should be a problem because the paint job was done, and Wiggins did the paint job.
Yeah.
So I don't think there'd be a problem then. So my next question is, I'll be very fast. I'm considering buying a Corolla because I don't do that much driving anymore. What are the advantages and disadvantages of a Corolla over a Camry? And then I'll listen, and then you tell me, and I don't want to spend too much time on the phone with you, okay?
Oh, that's okay, Howard. Hey, Howard, I wanted to point out to you before Rick answers your other question, the latest consumer report, it covers everything that we just talked about, so it's really worth picking up, and it's the January-February edition 2026. And we definitely appreciate you and, the time that you do spend with us. There's a lot of people that are well informed after we're done talking to you. I want to ask you one question before Rick takes over. Are chains on the tires still used up north?
Yeah, they're used in Alaska. That's about it.
I'll tell you what, that brings back a lot of memories for me. Getting chains on my car and getting them off. What an ordeal. But boy, I'll tell you, we needed them where I lived. So I was just curious.
Yeah, but what's happening in the winter here, in the past 10 years, we've only had very little snow, like 2 inches and 3 inches and stuff. This is really a major snowstorm. We haven't seen this in about 10 years. And I attribute it to global warming.
Yeah.
People think, they don't believe in it, but what can I tell you?
Yeah. Well, to you, what you just shared with me, you said 10 years. I think you and I are both the same age, but back whenever I was driving, I'm going to tell you what, when the snow plows came along, they buried us, and then there was even more snow after they left. So chains, it was imperative that I had my chains on the car in order for me to get around. I'm going to give this call back to Rick. Do you have any questions for him?
No, thank you very much.
Thanks,
have a
Howard.
good day, and I'll be seeing you at the end of February.
Oh, good. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.
You're welcome. Bye.
We're going to go to John, and he's been holding for a while. Welcome to the show, John.
Good morning. Welcome back from vacation. Like Earl, being the same age, I have too many things, too many questions, and too many things to talk about. But the most important thing right now, I'm having my morning coffee, and on the coaster for the coffee is the most beautiful white ceramic tile with a 50 on it. On the bottom of it is cork, so you can sit down and you won't scratch anything. And right on the top of it is a saying, trust our customers as much as you hope they will trust you. The fastest way to earn trust is to give trust. Signed, Earl Stewart, with a beautiful picture of Earl and the number 50. I treasure this coaster. It was picked up at the 50th anniversary at the dealership, and people should understand something. Not everybody could be invited. The building code and the fire code has a limitation of people in any one building, so it was filled to capacity as I could see it. But I thank you guys again for this most beautiful memory of the 50th party that was held at Earl Stewart, and I treasure it, and I think it's just great. It really is beautiful looking.
Thank you, John. We really appreciate
You're part of the
that.
show. You're part of our team.
Yeah, and to you talking about your coaster, Earl's latest column, "The Car Dealer's Oath." If you haven't read it, read it. It will go, it will pair very well with your coaster.
Well, I don't know, and I knew a lot of dealers in my life, and I didn't know, actually, only one of them I can think of. He's in South Carolina, and it's Jim Benson. He's the oldest Chrysler dealer, but I can't think of anybody that has kept the same dealership for 50 years, and Earl has to be very proud. Some of them use the name, they sell it,
Yeah.
and it's not the same owners, but in Earl's case, he continues, and his honesty is what keeps it going.
Yes, transparency is, it's an amazing advertisement, and I can't imagine how Earl feels. I can't get into his body, but it must be an overwhelming feeling. 50 years and still going strong, and his reputation built on transparency. That is quite a statement in this industry.
Thank you for the souvenir and memory of Earl.
Thank you, John. Thanks for calling in.
Anytime.
We'll talk next week again.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. We're going to go to Barry. Good morning, Barry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome back.
Thank you.
While you're out, just last week, the Federal Trade Commission finalized an order against General Motors and its OnStar subsidiary for shady data handling practices. So today I'd like to get your comments about the surveillance machines that we drive around in. Our vehicles are huge generators of data about where we go, how we drive, and what we do. We have all the telematics that come from sensors, cameras, microphones, and such. And our cars may have tracking devices installed, sometimes secretly. And even our cell phones can generate a lot of data about our driving. While there are valid reasons to share some of this data, essentially trading privacy for certain benefits, things start to get ugly when the data is shared without informed consent. Just about every manufacturer has issues with data privacy, except maybe Studebaker and Pierce Arrow. And that's where I'd like to mention one more thing before I stop talking. It's the Mozilla Foundation and their Privacy Not Included initiative. The website is at privacynotIncluded.org. It has lots of information about all sorts of products and a big section on cars, broken down manufacturer by manufacturer. Most of the big names are in there. It's both scary and helpful at the same time. Even though much of it was published 2.5 years ago, it still seems relevant, as the aforementioned GM case with the FTC illustrates. So what are your thoughts about car data and privacy?
Barry, my feeling is that, like so many things that the Federal Trade Commission involves himself in, it's political. I have very little respect for the Federal Trade Commission. They're going after General Motors for violation of privacy, but virtually every dealer in the United States is lying and cheating and stealing from millions of customers, and they're not doing a damn thing about that. It's all political. They tried to, but the politicians pushed it aside. The Federal Trade Commission is, like so many other government organizations, politically controlled. I'm for privacy for those that want privacy. And Nancy and I, we don't have any privacy, but that's our choice. I think that you and anyone is entitled to their data and their information, and you should make the decision who it's shared with. I agree with it. I'm not complaining about the Federal Trade Commission action. I'm complaining about the Federal Trade Commission worrying about a relatively minor issue, and I don't take this the wrong way. Privacy is not minor, but when a 65 or 70-year-old senior citizen goes into a car dealership and pays $10,000 over the advertised price of the car they buy, and you multiply that by millions of senior citizens, I think that is more serious than their privacy. And the Federal Trade Commission should do what they think is right, not what the political influence on them tells them to do. That's my answer.
Okay, that's an interesting insight. I think the back to the Mozilla Foundation, they raised some interesting points about all the agreements that you're supposed to sign off on, and like there can be many different places you have to check to hit all the boxes on what you're sharing and what you're not agreeing to.
Sure.
Agreeing to. So you have to be really careful. It seems like.
Oh, it is. It even bothers Nancy. I mean, we're public figures, and so we've kind of given up our privacy. But it's a little spooky when we've joked, and I'm not even sure it's a joke. We'll be talking about a product, and suddenly on our smartphones, we go to make a phone call, and an advertisement pops up on our smartphone for something we were speaking about in the privacy of our home. Now, that might be coincidental, but it is spooky. Rick?
I just wanted to put in Donovan's comments here. He says, sadly, this is never going to change in the U.S. until we actually get laws similar to what Europe has, because it's not allowed over there. Privacy of your data is taken seriously in Europe and should be here as well. Most people don't realize how much data your car, your cell phone, and even your TVs can gather about you.
Yeah, it is. It's spooky.
Yeah, everybody's got smart TVs now.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks don't realize those things are listening to you 24/7.
Yeah.
And their cameras are even on 24/7.
How about
they can see
Alexa?
you.
Alexa's another example.
Yeah, the list is
Alexa and
endless.
Siri, yes, both.
And Rick, to what you're saying, I've said over and over again after we got the robot that Earl so badly wanted, and Timmy is right there. That's his name, Timmy.
Yep.
He's right there in the house, and his eyes would move about, and I'd say to Earl, "Is he listening to us?" And then his eyes would follow our direction we were walking in,
Yep.
and it was like as if that he was recording everything that we were saying.
And for automobiles, I was amazed when they first came out with LoJack, and the idea that if your car was stolen, the police could simply pull up a tracker and find your car.
Yikes.
But now LoJack and a lot of, well, I'd say 90% of used car lots would install trackers in the car that were hidden away, so nobody even knew it was there. And it only took 10 minutes to install one of these. And now they don't even need that, because with modern cars now,
In Apple Find My, you stick it in the glove compartment or underneath the car, and you can track anybody you want to.
yeah, and they make trackers now that even your cell phone can't pick up. Because like if you have an Apple phone and someone puts an Apple tag on your car, you'll find out about it because it's traveling with you, and your phone will alert you to that.
There's a way to defeat that.
Right, but
yeah.
they also make ones that cannot be detected, and the manufacturers can actually track your car through its own GPS signal anyways.
Yeah, okay.
There's so many options.
Barry, I didn't mean to disagree with you on the FTC. I just disagreed with their priorities. But you're absolutely right. Privacy is important to a lot of people. And as I said, Nancy and I, we've given up our privacy. You can't be a public figure and expect you're going to have much privacy. So once you accept that, it's not as painful when you find out about these devices that are tracking you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, interesting discussion. I appreciate the thoughts.
Thank you,
Thank
Barry.
you.
Thank you, Barry. Okay, we are going to go to Mark, who has been holding. Good morning, Mark. Mark's calling us from Lake Worth.
Mark, are you there?
I am. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
It's good to hear you.
It's good to be heard.
Thank you. What can we do for you?
Well, I've got a mystery sound in my 2016 Toyota RAV4.
Oh, boy.
It's a clunk. I hear a clunk occasionally, not every time, but usually in the morning on first startup when I put it in reverse. And it seems to be emanating from the left front, kind of under where the battery would be. I checked to make sure that the housing for the battery was secure, and it is, so it's not. That's not making the sound. And the only other thing I can think of, I know that the vehicle does not have. Well, in years past, I would have immediately thought it was worn U-joints for the drivetrain, but the vehicle doesn't have that type of transmission anymore. So I then thought, well, I had some work done. I replaced the arm, the left front arm attached to the wheel, and that was back in August. And I mentioned it to the shop that did it, and they said, no, that wouldn't be making that sound. But they suggested it could be a bad strut.
Have
So
you recorded that noise that you hear?
No, I didn't have any way to record it at the time. But
a lot of consumers that deal with Rick, they'll do that. They'll record a noise, and it's easier to come to a conclusion as to what it really is. Sounds like you've been through, different what you thought solutions, and here you are still hearing the noise. Rick, what do you think?
Okay, so I'm going to kind of go on a limb. I'm assuming the car was in a minor accident of some sort for why you needed that control arm replaced?
No, it's never been in an accident.
And what year was this car? The RAV?
2016.
Oh, a 16. Okay. Somewhere I had it in my head that it was a 26. Okay, yeah. If they had to replace a control arm, my first thought immediately is to go to what they did. When was it they replaced that?
August.
And how long after that did you start hearing the noise?
This I've been noticing for a few weeks.
Okay. I would be wondering if maybe something got loosened up over time. A bolt wasn't properly torqued correctly when they replaced that. Or I'd be more concerned also about maybe the wheel bearing actually starting to shift tiny bits or the ball joint. I find it kind of unlikely that it's going to be the strut, because struts normally, when you're putting a car in forwards and reverse, unless something is loose on the strut, if they didn't bolt the knuckle securely to the strut, tighten that up properly, then that could happen. A loose bolt would definitely allow it to make noise. But otherwise, the strut really only makes noise when it goes up and down. So the first thing I'd be looking at, again, would be that control arm, the ball joint, possibly the sway bar links. Earl just pulled this up on ChatGPT, and it's saying...
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was replaced also.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'd be looking to see if they left something maybe a little bit loose. Probably the first thing I would try, one of the things that even ChatGPT suggests, is what's called a jounce test. Basically, go to that front corner and kind of kneel on the bumper corner and bounce the car up and down till you get it rocking really good. And then step back and listen for those noise, while you're bouncing it. And as it goes, to see if it makes any noise then. And if it does not, then I'd really be leaning away from the strut and more towards like a sway bar link or something is not tightened properly on the car.
Interesting. Okay. The shop that I contacted that did the work back in August, they said, well, we can run a diag for you, but you would need to leave the vehicle overnight so we can do a cold startup and see if we can reproduce the clunk.
Right. That's pretty much standard if you got a noise that's cold start. Yep.
Okay. And and he said, and it would be $200 to run the diag. I don't know if that means $200 if they don't find the problem. Does that charge seem reasonable?
That's for most dealerships now and most of the busier shops, that is about an hour's labor, maybe an hour and a half, and that is actually kind of reasonable for what they're charging now. However, and you'll want to verify this with your particular shop, but like at our dealership, if we charge a diagnosis fee, that is applied. If you decide not to repair it, you pay that amount and you walk away. But if you decide to repair it, that gets put into the price of the repair.
What if the diagnosis doesn't reveal anything?
Now at that point, it's on to the shop. Once they charge a diagnostic fee, they kind of need to figure it out at that point.
Well, so in other words, if he brings the car in and they do the diagnosis and they can't find anything, he owes them $200.
Now, well, actually, like at my shop, now I'll say this for me personally, as the technician, because I'm the guy that's going to be going in and working on that car, getting my hands dirty to try to figure this out. If I get in your car with a cold start and I can't duplicate that noise,
I get it. So,
I'm not charging.
Yeah, so that's a question to ask them before you leave the car with them. You say, okay, $200, I accept that. I'll leave the car with you overnight. If you find it, you apply that $200 to my bill, and if you don't find it, I get my $200 back. And if they say no, go somewhere else.
Right.
Okay. All right. That sounds reasonable. I guess that's what I'll have to do then, because it doesn't sound like it's a good idea to allow it to keep clunking. Fortunately, it doesn't happen all the time. I would say maybe 1 out of 4 cold startups. Yesterday was a bit different. I had driven it several miles when it happened, and I was pulling into a doctor's office, a parking space at a doctor's office. Needed to adjust the position of the vehicle, so when I put it in reverse at that point, it clunked, and hasn't done it since. So
okay,
it's very intermittent, and I'm just concerned that I might be just throwing money away trying to do a diag on something they can't reproduce.
Exactly.
Well, actually, you're kind of got one advantage too. For about the next, starting like on Monday, for about the next week, actually a solid week, we're going to get some cold temperatures. And one thing that I've learned is that as temperatures go down, a lot of times, because cold makes the metal and everything contract a little bit, so something that's loose and making a noise, that can actually make it more easier to find and a lot more likely to sound out for the technician. So that's something that may help in this case.
So I should tell the technician. Well, I will certainly show him the work that was done in August.
Yep.
And the easiest thing first is to see if anything needs tightening from that job.
And another thing I'd even recommend, if you can make this happen, if you can set up with them that you go to the shop the next morning and ride with the technician, so that way, let them drive the car, but tell them how to make the noise. But if you can get them to hear the noise while you're in the car, you can point it out.
That's going to be a problem if it only happens once every 3 or 4 starts.
Right.
So
it can be
got a
tough
problem,
sometimes.
Yeah, that's why the gentleman said, well, it would be best to leave it overnight, and we'll send somebody out to the vehicle several times throughout the day to see if we can reproduce it.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
It seemed like the best option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, this sounds like a very interesting topic, and we would love to ask you to give us a call back and let us know the outcome.
I will do so.
Can you?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Were you going to say something, Rick?
Nope.
No? Okay, our number here is 877-960-9960. You can also text us at 772-497-6530. Take advantage of youranonymousfeedback.com. I spoke about the ladies this morning when we've opened the show. Again, I will tell you, first 2 new lady callers, you can win yourself a $50 Amazon gift certificate, and that is emailed directly to you as soon as you give a call and you talk to Jeremy in the control room. He gets your information. Voila, there you have it. $50 Amazon gift certificate. 877-960-9960. Ladies, give us a call just to say hello, that you're listening, or that maybe another female caller shared with you our show. I'd love to hear from you. We're going to go to, speaking of a female, we're going to talk to Ellen. Ellen is one of our regular callers. Good morning, Ellen.
I'm a regular. Wow. Well, when I have a problem, I know who to call. So
Thank you.
Anyway, I have a 2025 Toyota Camry. I went in for my maintenance check. And while I was there, they have a couple of guys. They don't work for Toyota, but they have permission to be on the premises, check your windshield for any cracks or anything. So they found this very, very tiny crack on the windshield. It looks like a dot. And they said it's deep, though, that it's to the metal, even though I can't feel it on the inside. And they want to replace the whole windshield and then calibrate the sensors. They do it either at the place or at your home. And it's a Florida law, from what I learned, that waives any deductible and off your comprehensive. So it wouldn't be any charge. But my concern is, first of all, would they be does it really need a new windshield? Can it be repaired? But if they do need a new windshield, how do you know that it's a Toyota part and that it's the same? And should I really just go to a freestanding glass place?
My recommendation, and this is because I had the windshield replaced on my Tacoma twice because of rock chips and would cause a crack. Now you check with your insurance company, because some insurance companies will not replace the glass simply for a small chip.
Well, they will replace it because the person in the service drive that she's talking about, they work with the insurance company. So if they wouldn't do it, they wouldn't offer to replace it. This is a money-making thing that car dealers do, which may not be all that bad. In a way, it's a bad thing if you're an insurance company, because most people can have a little chip somewhere in their windshield and it doesn't bother them. And in fact, they don't even know it's there. But they've got some guy on commission in the service drive at the dealership. He works in cahoots with the dealer and the insurance company. Maybe not so much with the insurance company, but what happens is he finds little chips. And how much does a windshield cost to replace? $1,100? Okay, so
and more.
So he makes and more. So he's probably making at least $100. The dealer's probably making $200, and it's free to the customer. And the only one that gets screwed is the insurance company. So it kind of falls up to you, Ellen. If you never noticed it and it doesn't bother you, and you don't want to be without your car for a while, forget about it. But if you'd like to have a perfect windshield, it's not going to cost you anything if they guarantee that, which they will before you let them replace the windshield. And if they replace it, it will be with a safe windshield. The insurance company will require that you have a guaranteed safe windshield.
Yep. I will put in here just Donovan has come in and just to put his words out here. He says, for the caller, he recommends do not do it. He says he did so, and he got hit by his insurance for the next 4 years with a higher rate. He says the cost of a new windshield, the install and calibration, is generally more than Florida law requires him to cover.
Good point.
And it may count as a claim against your insurance.
Good point.
Now, my own personal vehicle that I had done, my windshield, I didn't have any of the extra sensors that had to be calibrated. So mine was simply done twice, and my insurance rates never went up on it.
Mm-hmm.
But they will use factory glass, and they'll even make sure that it's the appropriate glass, because some vehicles, the exact same model, may have a different glass. It doesn't have the shading at the top, or does have. So they're going to verify to make sure you get the proper factory windshield glass to put in.
Earl, in the old days, wasn't this SOP? I haven't heard a story like this for a while, but you could drive into a dealership and there were people in the service drive offering what Ellen just shared with
Yeah.
us. That was like a,
Yeah, we've done it.
SOP.
We've done it at our dealership. We haven't done it recently. It smells a little bit to me. It's got a little bit of a.
It stinks a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts here. I'd question the whole deal. And I think it was Earl or Rick that said, if you don't have a problem, you don't have a problem. And
Yeah.
I'd be concerned about the insurance and the claim against you.
Right. And also, like if something did go wrong, maybe it's not, they don't have a freestanding place. I mean, are they, do they guarantee it? I mean,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy gives me a card that wasn't even the company that he's representing because he was new.
This
So
stinks.
I don't know. I just didn't feel comfortable with it.
Your
But I was
instincts
just
were right.
Yeah, I was just concerned that it might get worse. Can it get worse?
Yeah, for sure.
It can, but to be honest, probably not. The scam is on the insurance company. So the insurance company is only going to pay, as Rick reminded you, of a factory windshield, and they're only going to allow it to be replaced by a qualified, approved windshield installer. So you will get a quality job, and you will get a quality windshield. It probably doesn't need a windshield. If I've got a chip in the lower right-hand side of my car, and I'm the only driver, I'm not even going to know it's there unless someone tells me. And so when they tell me, do I want to waste the time to have a new windshield? And meanwhile, for $1,200 or $2,000 or whatever it's going to cost, you're really taking advantage of the insurance company. But who likes insurance companies? I don't like them. You don't like them. So we do it.
They're in business to make money. Ellen, I have a question for you. This person with the inconsistencies on his business card, did they want to take your car to put in possibly a new windshield? Were they going to take your car to another location?
No, they gave me a choice that they would either do it at the Toyota dealer or come to my house.
I see. Okay.
And they were trying. In fact, what they did, which I had told them, I'm going to check it out with my insurance and I'll let you know. And what happened is they filed a claim without my consent.
Oh, dear.
They filed a claim the day that they told me about it.
That's bad.
So
Very bad, yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. Except they sent me a text, and that's how I knew it. And then I called up right away to my insurance company.
Yeah.
And I said, I haven't approved that yet. I'm still looking,
And Rick reminded Donovan pointed something that I'd forgotten about, is that your premium likely will go up. Your cost. So given that and the fact that you didn't notice the chip before, I just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Why give them ammunition to raise your premium?
You don't want
Right.
anyone messing with your insurance rates.
No, high enough as it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
on my own vehicle, I waited until the crack literally went like the entire width of the windshield before I got it replaced, and then only because with a crack that large and that long, technically you could get pulled over and given a ticket by police.
Right. Okay. Okay, well, I appreciate all the advice and everything. You've really helped me.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you calling and sharing that with us. And please call us again. Let us know if there was any more, interruption or violation or anything you didn't know about with your insurance company.
Yeah, I'll check with them.
That's
Yeah,
not
thank
right.
you.
That's not right.
Mm-hmm.
Have a great
Okay, well,
weekend, Ellen.
You too. Thank you very
Great
much.
hearing from
Okay,
you.
bye.
We're going to talk to Tricia, but let me remind everyone, our number here is 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. You'll need that text number in order to vote on our extremely interesting mystery shopping report from Southern 441 Nissan. We're going to go to Tricia. Good morning, Tricia. What can we do for you this morning?
Hello, Tricia.
Good morning. Good
Welcome.
morning. I'm glad you're back. I want to wish you happy holidays and happy New Year since you've been off the air for several weeks.
Thank you.
So,
Happy
but
New
I
Year.
never got a chance. But I want to know, let you know that I still listen to your repeat shows every Saturday, no matter what.
Oh, thank
So, also, I'll bring up the fact, Earl, you said, well, this is a live show, now we can't use it as a repeat show. Well, just cut that part out, Earl. Just, like erase that from the tape.
Great
and
idea.
Then you'll be able to use it. Okay. Okay. The reason why I'm calling, we spoke about this a few times about not doing doing a repair kind of like you do, like the car buying thing, and we talked about comparing repair shop prices and being scammed and stuff like that. I'm still pushing for you to do something like that because I gave you an example a long time ago, like over 6 months ago, when I was told I needed $1,500 worth of work in my front end. And then I take it over to Dino, my trustworthy guy I've known 15 years, and he said there's nothing wrong. Remember that?
I do.
When we talked about that, right?
Right.
Remember that?
I do.
Okay. So now here we go again. I had two tires. The outside edge of my front and rear tire on the right side were wearing out. And I know it's my driving, but, other people saying, it's an alignment, it's an alignment. Other people are saying, no, it's not an alignment. So here I go, replacing my tires from this guy down in Tamarack. He's got great prices for rotating, balancing, buying. And next door is an alignment shop, which I spoke about many months ago, saying how great they were because they're very honest. They didn't charge for a diagnostic fee, and they're very honest. Well, back up, because now they do charge for a diagnostic fee. I had to pay $45 for them to diagnose it. Obviously, they changed their policy. And, of course, I found out my alignment was perfect, all right, once again. But they did say the tie rods, I think, is that the name, Rick? The rods?
Yes.
There's outer and inner tie rods. Is that the correct word, right?
Yep.
Okay. So they did say one of the outer tie rods on one end was a little loose, and then on the left side, the inner tie rod was loose. Not an emergency to get it replaced, okay? You agree it wasn't that bad, but they quoted me with tax if I wanted to get done, like if this kept happening to me, if this kept happening to my tires, to finally get this done. Not an emergency, Rick, right? You agree with that?
Yeah, it can be. When they get really loose, it starts to affect the steering, because these are actually what connects the power steering rack to the front wheels at the steering knuckle. So they're actually a very important part, because that can affect your steering. So, if they get really worn, then it can become a safety issue.
Right, but right now my steering is not affected, so
Okay.
I'm good to go. But so they did say that needed to be repaired eventually. They gave me a quote of about $980 with tax, probably $1,000. Does that seem excessive to you, Rick? And then I want to make another comment of what Dino said after that.
That actually seems pretty much in line for replacing tie rod ends. Myself personally, if I'm going to replace tie rod ends, I want to do inner and outer on the side that definitely has a problem. And if the other side has a problem as well, I want to do inner and outer on both sides for safety reasons.
Right.
So yeah,
both
that
need
is
to be replaced. Yeah, both.
yeah, but that is definitely for $900 for all 4 tie rod pieces and the alignment, of course, because then
Right.
you do need the
Right.
alignment.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually right in play. That's a very reasonable price.
Okay. Well, I called my Dino friend. He works by himself. As I told you, he's got a shop on his own. Guess what he quoted me? Now, he doesn't have an alignment rack, so I would have to, get an alignment maybe for $100. But guess what he quoted me when I told him the issue?
What?
$300 with labor and parts.
Whoa.
Oh, he's finding a very good price on parts then, and he's being extremely nice on the labor. Because alignments, most places right now, an alignment is going to run you probably closer to $200. So you're actually looking at about you're looking at about
for 95.
Tricia, you've got yourself a real diamond there, and there are mechanics out there in their shops that are honest and priced fairly. So, do you have his address and phone number? We'd like to give it out on the air to anybody in your Tamarack. Tamarack is, we could just say, Fort Lauderdale area.
No. Dino is in East Boca.
East Boca.
I happen to be in Margate, Tamarack to get my tires and test out the alignment.
Do you have his address and phone
Tricia,
number?
You've given that to us before, but I don't have that in my records. But as Earl said, gosh almighty, this guy's a unicorn. And we would like to get the information from you again. Can you give it to me?
Yes. Sure. His name is Dino, but he only takes on, big repairs because he's a one-man show.
Tricia, how long have you known Dino?
15 years.
Okay, that's what I thought you said before. Okay, now where's he located?
He's located in East Boca.
Okay.
He's actually looking for, a great a partner, somebody else to help him work on stuff. But every time he finds somebody, they're not good enough, not efficient enough, and blah, blah, blah. Rick, I'm sure you've heard that. He's very, very picky.
Very
and
particular.
He always, very particular. No one does it, as good as he does. And, so it's very difficult to find another repairman. But here's his cell number is, well, maybe I'll give you his shop number. His shop number is 561-368-6221.
That's 561-368-6221.
Yes.
Is the name of his business Dino's, or is that just his name? Or are they both?
No, his shop name is Colbyco. Colbyco. That's the shop repair name.
Colbyco.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's great news. Colbyco, 561-368-6221. And if you're just tuned in, this is probably the most honest auto mechanic in South Florida. And if you're anywhere near Boca Raton and you want an honest mechanic, if you can drive to East Boca and go to Colbyco, ask for Dino, and tell him Tricia sent you, and he'll take care of you.
Hey, Tricia, there was another number you were going to share, and you decided on the shop number. Is that the only number we need?
I have his cell number. I'll give that to you too, because I'm sure if it's business, he won't mind being
This
called
is a
on
very
his
unusual
cell.
story. That's like
but
having
see-
that's like having the cell number for your doctor. Now you're
Well,
allowed to give
I
that
know,
to
but-
us.
I know that. I know him very well.
Okay.
I give him a lot of things for his cats. So I give him a lot of things for, I just give him a lot of stuff. So, his cell number 561-212-6228.
Okay. Everybody in the studio raised their eyebrows when you were about to give me the cell number. Everybody in here. This is a very unusual situation.
And when you take your car and bring some cat food.
We thought
Wait,
Rick was
say that
the
again?
only unicorn.
No, we got 2 unicorns here. All right.
Tricia, thank you very much. That's,
Rick
Before
wants
you
to
go,
say-
I have no real information here, but I'm just going to bring this out because I do have this comment on YouTube from Kim Appreciates Life. She says she went to talk to Dino at Colbico in Boca, and she says that apparently, now this may be an isolated thing, but apparently he buys used parts sometimes to put on the cars. So you may want to verify, is he using brand new parts for your car?
well, there's really nothing wrong with used parts. I mean, if the used part is good,
Right.
you should use it. It's easier to use the new parts, but when you buy a new part, and you're a guy like Dino, you've got to buy it from the dealer, and the manufacturer always marks their parts up obscenely high to the dealer, and the dealer marks the parts up. Toyota marks them up 40%. Or the dealer, Toyota dealer marks it. So I credit him for using used parts. He could use the new parts, but if he cares about the customer, he would use a used part if it's good. And you got to believe that he has the customer. So we highly endorse this technician. Thank you very much.
And I've never had an issue, whether he used it used or new.
Yeah.
Whatever he's done, I've never had an issue.
And you've been dealing with him for 15 years.
And
Yes, maybe more. I'm not sure.
There you go.
Johnny Z. Fradley also has chimed in. He says he has a 4.7 Google rating.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but I just like to have, I'm just simply
Both
reporting
sides, Rick.
what I see. I
Both
just like to
sides.
make sure everyone
Yeah.
has their chance to get their words out. Is all.
Exactly.
Best
Well,
thing we
that's
can
pretty
do, I
good,
think.
4.7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tricia, lastly, for the listeners to this long dialogue we had here, which is very productive, highly productive. I can't thank you enough for calling. Don't pay to check an alignment. Do not pay. Most mechanics, dealers, a long time ago, everybody charged, but the machines now, Hunter is the biggest manufacturer of alignment machines, and they have got it down to a science where you can literally check an alignment on a vehicle in 60 seconds, Rick. You drive the car over the alignment machine.
We have that installed in our service drive at the shop.
Yeah.
And this is before the car even goes inside the shop. It's as you pull in to get checked in.
Yeah.
This system, and it is some voodoo magic, but it literally checks your alignment accurately.
So to charge $50 or $75 for that is highway robbery. And all, I don't know what the word is, I was going to say honest, but all business savvy auto repair stores do not charge for alignments. I mean, for checking alignments.
Right.
They will charge you for the alignment, but not checking the alignment.
And the whole point of having
I
that.
don't know anybody that doesn't charge for checking.
Well, you're in a hotbed of bad guys down there
Yeah.
because I get on the phone, and the first thing you ask them is, "Do you check? Will you check my alignment at no charge?" If they say no, then call somebody else. I know in in our area, in Palm Beach area, West Palm Beach area, most of our competition, including ourselves, we do not charge to check an alignment.
Right,
Well, of course it's you. That's why. But I don't trust. I don't trust a lot of places, as you know, and I'm sure Rick, you could verify this. That they could make it look like you need an alignment. They could fudge the numbers and move things around and make it look like you need an alignment. Okay, we're not going to charge you.
Well, ask for the printout. Ask for the printout, because when you drive across, it's highly unlikely that they would be so sophisticated that they could counterfeit the printout after you drove your car across the alignment machine. So if you say in advance, "I'm going to come in, I want you to drive my car across your alignment machine and give me a copy of the printout. Will you charge me for that?" If they say yes, go somewhere else.
Right. Like now our shop where we have the one that you simply drive over, the great thing about that is that so many cars are out of alignment, and when they drive over that, and you can't fake that one, and the guy just shows you, "Hey, your alignment is out. Would you like an alignment today?" You know, the check is already done. It costs nothing. So yeah, and a lot of customers are buying alignments and making their car be in better shape for doing that.
Okay. Well, down in Boca here, they always charge to check.
Well, do not get your car aligned in Boca Raton.
Tricia, I want to. All of us here want to thank you for calling Earl on Cars. It's amazing some of the information that you have shared with us through the years. And this morning, I'd like to extend a thank you to you by offering you a $50 Amazon gift certificate if you so choose. And if you stay on the line and give Jeremy your information, that can happen immediately after you speak to him. It'll be emailed to you. Would you like that?
Oh, my God, you guys have been so generous to me before in the past. I'm like overwhelmed.
Well, you can use
Tricia,
that.
I have to
You
say
can use
that
that. You can use that to pay for your next check alignment in Boca Raton.
And Trish, you're a walking advertisement, and I can't imagine how many people you have spoken to about our show, and also about me building a female audience. And for that, that's priceless. That kind of news just travels. So this is our way of thanking you.
Oh, my God, you're wonderful. I love you for it, and thank you again.
All we ask is that you stay in touch.
Oh, every Saturday, so
Okay.
whether you're there or not.
We'll continue. We're on a roll. Tricia, have a wonderful weekend. And again, thank you. Stay on the line.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we've got some calls, and hopefully we're going to be able to get to all of them, Iggy. The TikTok, it's just about 9:15. We're going to go to David. Thank you for your patience, David. And David is calling us from Yowzy. Is that New Jersey? It's kind of blurred.
Yes.
New Jersey?
Yes.
Are you physically in New Jersey?
Yes, it's Howell, New Jersey.
Ah, how cold is it?
We just looked. It's 11 degrees.
That brings back a lot of memories.
Right.
It's like yesterday for me, and I've been here for about 50 years, I think.
Wow.
But you just never forget that kind of cold.
Right, and tomorrow's supposed to be a really big snowstorm.
Yeah. There's a huge ice storm in Dallas, which is, it's been a long time. I got a call from someone. David, what can we do for you this morning?
Okay, so this is going to be for Rick, and you've always diagnosed the few problems that I had on this car, you always diagnosed correctly and really helped me out. So this is a 2012 Prius with 205,000 miles, and I'm the original owner.
Okay.
And I'm just I'm just looking to buy some more time, even if it's just a few months. So the car works perfectly, except actually it just started the loud knocking, banging noise for a few seconds, only on cold startups. So I was actually going to call you about a month ago before were away, and just say, hey, what's going to happen? But now it's starting to lose antifreeze, and a little bit quickly. Like it just went down about 2 inches on the reservoir.
Okay, yeah.
But the one question that I have is, and then you could tell me what you is, if I put a radiator sealer in, would that extend the engine life a little, or should I just add antifreeze? Because I'm now convinced that it's the head gasket, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Actually, it's probably not the head gasket per se. Number one item that I'd be looking at on that it's going to be either the cylinder head or the block. It's a common issue on Prius engines when they get older. And what happens is it starts to seep coolant into one of the cylinders, usually number 2 or number 3, the middle 2 cylinders on the 4-cylinder engine. And it happens when the engine, as it's cooling down, it reaches a certain temperature where the expansion contraction allows for it to seep coolant into the cylinder. And then when you start the engine up, that little bit of coolant in there, that liquid coolant sitting in the cylinder, actually causes it to misfire. And that's that noise you're hearing, that tuck, 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 tuck. That's that cylinder misfiring until that coolant actually gets burned and pushed out of the cylinder. That's normally not enough that it's going to hydrolock the engine or anything, but it's enough that it makes it misfire for a moment or two, sometimes up to 20 or 30 seconds when you first start the engine up.
Exactly the time, 20 or 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's a very common thing, and unfortunately, the most cost-effective way to handle that is actually to replace it with a junkyard engine, a used engine that has much lower mileage.
Don't use the word junkyard engine.
It would be a used engine.
Junkyards used to be junkyards, but they're not junkyards anymore.
We'll call it recycled, but
seriously, it's a highly sophisticated business.
Oh,
and, when you say junkyard, I envision wading through all this stuff and looking at this a totaled car, crawling through the window and saying, I can use that.
That's back when we were kids.
Let me tell you that my memories of the junkyard, I lived in Pittsburgh. Saturday morning, it was time to go to the junkyard, and I would find what I needed, and it was a good memory. As you said, it's become a big business today.
Yeah, and especially the fact that it's using coolant. I never, ever, ever, ever will recommend any sort of a sealer product in the radiator, simply because this can plug up the radiator, the heater core, the coolant valves, and more importantly, the thermostat. And it can actually cause more problems than it will ever solve. So my recommendation, if you're only looking to get a few more months out of it, I would simply top the radiator up, the antifreeze overflow, pour it back to the high mark when the engine is cold, and wait and see. And as long as that banging doesn't get a lot worse, you might get another 6 or 8 months out of the car or more, depending on how severe that coolant is leaking into that cylinder. Eventually, what it's going to do, it's going to start causing just enough misfire that it's going to start triggering the check engine light. And when it does trigger that, at that point, now you know you're on borrowed time.
Okay. And does it help? I have a heated garage. I can put the heat on in the garage. I have a separate furnace. I did notice that it doesn't do it as much, almost never, if I keep the heat on. Will that buy me more time too, or no?
Not really, because what is actually happening, and we see it down here even in the summertime here in Florida, and obviously we don't see cold temperatures here. I mean, we see 45 is our lowest temp I've seen in the last several weeks, and we're not even going to get below the 40s with that big cold rush coming in right now. So no, it's as the engine is an operating temperature, as it cools down to like a normal 85, 90 degrees, what we would see as normal temperatures here, that as it's coming down, those expansion contraction rates allow that coolant to start seeping in. And what happens is when the coolant pressure builds up, your radiator is always under pressure while it's hot, and that's pushing that coolant through that little tiny gap. So that's why it's causing it. But yeah, it's number one common most thing on Prius is when they get up there in mileage like that, that's when it starts getting that little coolant leak into the cylinders.
Okay. And should I go to a Toyota dealer and get antifreeze, or some places are saying just to use Toyota, or at this point just buy ones that are equivalent, like in Walmart?
You can buy it from the Toyota dealer or anywhere as long as it's rated to be equal to Toyota Super Long Life Coolant. We call it SLLC coolant. Okay. But you can buy it from the dealer if you want to as well.
Be cheaper anywhere else.
That's for sure.
Right.
Yep. I'd even look on Amazon.
Good place to look.
Very good. Okay, so that helped me a lot. I know where I stand now.
Very good. Thanks so much for the call, David.
All right, thank you.
Hope
Have
to
a
hear
good day,
from you
everybody.
again.
Sure.
We're going to go to John. And John's calling us from West Palm Beach. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning, Oz. Thank you so much. I was hoping I wasn't going to have to call next week due to time constraints. First of all, several things came up while waiting. Apple and their Apple Tag. The reason why they had put a tracker on it, like if you're near Apple Tag, it tells you near it, because what was happening was predators were slipping the Apple Tags into backpacks and purses, like at bars and at schools, so that you could track the person. For instance, a young lady or someone at the bar, and you could track them to where they got home and where they go. All right, so that's out of the way. My next question is, I'm in the process of purchasing a truck, and I wanted to find out between the Tundra and the Tacoma, which one is a quarter ton? So I can compare it to the truck that I'm looking to buy.
Tacoma is actually considered a mid-sized truck, but it would be more like a quarter to a half ton. And then the Tundra is now a full-size, full one-ton pickup, as the terms they're considering. What I would highly recommend is if you're comparing different models, don't look at what it's rated as, half-ton, quarter-ton, three-quarter-ton, full truck. Look at the actual towing specifications, at the actual horsepower and torque ratings, and, of course, your fuel economy is going to play in there, and then the gross vehicle weight of the vehicle itself.
And, John, one other thing. What you need the vehicle for is really very important. There's so many things to look into, before you make the purchase. What are your needs? Are they to be considered?
Just like for hauling and towing, but the truck that I'm looking at has so many variations as far as 4-door, 2-door, 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive, and then different special packages. They say it's the number one selling truck. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, the main thing to look at is, and as you're looking at the various different trucks, decide what configuration is going to work for you. But believe it or not, even changing the length of the bed changes the towing ability on the vehicle by some amounts. So, what actual model, what trucks are you looking at? I know you're looking at Tacoma and Tundra.
I'm only looking at one truck, and that's the FISO.
The what truck?
The FISO.
Oh, that's that new little looks almost like a golf cart type thing. No. This is made by Ford. Oh, okay. This is one I'm not familiar with. I haven't had to look that one up.
Spell it, William.
This is number one selling truck for 44 years.
The F-150.
Oh,
number
the
one?
F-150. Okay.
Oh, the 150.
Wait, what?
Okay. I get you now. Okay, you caught me off guard with that one. Haven't had enough coffee yet this morning.
That's hard to do, John. You got Rick.
No, the reason why I do that is for you guys, the power of radio. Do you know how many people are now going to pull up, that's listening to the show, is going to pull up behind the 150 and say, oh, my gosh, it does say FISO.
Yeah, once seen, it ccannot be
salesmen
unseen.
Are going out to the... How many salesmen at your shop are going out now to see if you have a FISO in your parking lot?
Well, I will say this. Ford has that is the best-selling truck ever. I totally admit that. However, I've always had one issue with Fords, and this is because being a mechanic, it always seemed like if I wanted to change one part on a Ford, I had to have 6 different sizes of sockets, 4 different sizes of wrenches, several pry bars, and a big hammer. Whereas with most Toyotas, they use the same size 3 or 4 bolts throughout almost everything on the engine.
And the best thing a mechanic can do is go buy a dozen 10-millimeter sockets, because those are the ones that always get used but always get lost.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, just a little side note here, on my Tacoma, before I sold it, and I kept this, I had a friend of mine custom make a gear shift knob for me that was burled wood and a 10-millimeter socket mounted on the top, and then the whole thing was encased in polymer plastic. So I had this beautiful hand-turned and handmade gear shift knob with a 10-millimeter socket floating in it. And I always said, that's the one I'll never lose. But I bought so many 10-millimeters over the years, I couldn't count them.
Yeah. And then the one last, I, too, replaced my windshield and got hit by my insurance company because I went ahead and had the windshield replaced.
Wow.
Should have just done it out of pocket.
Well, out of pocket, if you look at that price on it, oh, boy.
And it's a Tesla, too, so they couldn't do it at the house. You have to, if it's Tesla and you're replacing the windshield, you have to put it, you have to take it to the shop because they have to calibrate it. And the calibration has to be done in, what do you call it? Controlled conditions. You know, you can't do it outside and things like that. That's what they told me.
You know, that's interesting because when we were talking about windshields earlier, Donovan said that he had to pay $800 for a new windshield for one of his Teslas. And he said they did a Tesla charge for the installation and calibration. And he's like, wait a minute, the Tesla is supposed to do the calibration itself. So you might even want to look in on that.
Are you looking at the hybrid, by the way?
Of what?
At the Ford.
Oh, I'm not in the market for.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted the listeners to know the power of radio and how one person could call and change the minds of a lot of people. That's
right,
the
John.
power that you guys have.
Hey, John. So what you're saying is you're just playing with us. Anyway, on a more serious note, you know, that F series that you mentioned, it is amazing that they finished 2025, the best-selling truck in the United States.
Yep.
And guess what? That's for the 49th straight year.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's quite a statement. Anyway, John, thank you for calling us and amusing us and playing a blooper on Rick.
You got
and
me.
We would love for you to give us a call back.
Oh, I always do. All right. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Okay, our last call is Bernie. Bernie, thank you so much for your patience. Are you still there? I think Bernie's calling us from...
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, Bernie.
And Bernie's calling us from Palm Beach, I believe.
Palm Beach Gardens. I can't afford a garbage can in Palm Beach.
Guess what, Bernie? I wouldn't put my garbage can in Palm Beach, but never mind. That's another show. Okay. What can we do for you, Bernie?
Well, 2 things. One, I just purchased a car recently from you. and I want to call out one of your salespeople, Marlene Levy, who did an excellent job. I bothered her over a 4 to 5 month period with multiple visits to your establishment, and she was very patient and showed me everything, 2 test drives, etc. And then ultimately, I did buy the car. So I want to call out to Marlene. Very, very easy to work with, and I assume you know who she is, but just to let you know.
Thank you, Bernie. We really appreciate that. I'm glad that you decided to give us a call and give her some recognition for her hard work and her patience.
And so the next question I have is, because I have a new car, it comes with a Toyota Connect. And so this is a little confusing to me. I've been working, so I haven't had time to read up a bunch about Toyota Connect. So I thought, well, I'll just ask you guys, since you sell the cars and you must know the system. Is this a subscription, a limited time, then you have to subscribe to it? And if it's not, then how long does it last? Or is it relative to the model of the car you buy?
It's going to depend on the model of car, because some have it, some don't. It does have a free period, and then it goes to a subscription. Is your car set up with Apple CarPlay still? Because they're starting in now. They want to try to get rid of the CarPlay and the Google CarPlay. But do you have like
26? It's a 26 Toyota Crown.
Okay, so you should still have it. I would recommend skip Toyota Connect and go just with the Apple CarPlay. Just use it right from your phone to the car. You're actually going to be a lot happier. The learning curve for using Toyota's Connect system and the Entune system is horrendous. Yes. You're going to be thinking stereo instructions from the 1970s here. It's not fun, and it makes my head spin. And then all of a sudden they hit you when that first free period goes away, and you've just learned it all, and you've just gotten used to it, and suddenly you got to start paying a subscription fee. And this is one of the things that I look at Toyota and I want to slap somebody in the head. And I want to do this to all the manufacturers, because a lot of them now are doing this thing. They want to switch you and make you pay each month to use the features that you paid for when you bought your car. And I think that's a crime against nature.
Yeah, I stand behind you, Rick.
It enrages me to think that they're doing this. You don't usually
get this upset. And, it's...
People in colder climates want to use the remote start to start their car, and after that free subscription runs out for the Entune and that, you have to pay each month just to use the remote start that is already built into your car.
No.
Yes.
So you're saying a Apple CarPlay is the car connected, or is it just because of Bluetooth? Because of proximity. Bluetooth, as I get in the car, then it all works from there.
You can do it 2 ways. You can either use the wireless, where it just uses a Bluetooth connection, or you can use a simple phone cable that plugs into your USB port for your radio, and it does it wired, and that actually charges your phone while you're driving as well, so you get the best of all the worlds, and you're already paying for your phone service anyways, so you've got your Apple Maps. You can use Google Maps. You can use Waze. You've got the audio, like your music then for your phone will play over your system, all the downloaded music. Myself, I have Audible. I love audiobooks. And I have an audiobook playing while I'm driving. It gives you way more features, and you're not paying every month for it, which to me is wrong. You already bought the car. Why should you have to pay them to let you use your car when you've already got to pay registration, insurance, gas, maintenance, everything else?
Yeah, endless.
I got to get off the soapbox now, or I'm going to be here for hours. Yeah. So I'm going to shut up now about it.
That makes perfect good sense. We'll ignore the Toyota Connect and all the wonderful emails I get about Toyota Connect, and we'll just go to Apple CarPlay and do it by Bluetooth.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you very much. And say hi to Marlene.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. We'll give her a shout out. Thanks, Bernie. Okay, we are going to...
We've got some time for text, I think.
We are going to go to some texts and some other interesting Facebook and everything in between. Go ahead, Rick.
Well, we had a couple texts come in already that I have answered just already myself through the text. But one of them here, this is coming in from an anonymous, but he says he was wondering about the 8-speed transmissions in Toyota. And my own 19 RAV that my wife and I are driving now, it does have the 8-speed. And there have been a lot of reports online where the 8-speed transmissions are having issues with intermittent shifting issues. They jerk. They make a little bit of noise. And normally, Earl, I am 100% with you on following the factory maintenance guide that comes in your car and not going for any of the upsell maintenances that all these places want to sell you. However, I disagree with them on this one point. Toyota says the transmission fluid that they're using now is a lifetime fluid and that you should never have to change it for the life of the car. Due to a lot of information that I've been seeing that they're not talking about, I disagree with that. And I say a transmission flush done about every 60 to 75,000 miles is going to help make that car operate a lot better. And I've Googled it, I've checked with ChatGPT, and there are many reports where, yes, this does make the transmission operate a lot better by making sure that you have fresh, clean fluid. You don't need it super often, but about every 60 to 75,000 miles.
Okay, so the problem with what you just said is that we have tens of thousands of listeners out there, and it's difficult to remember specific instructions for a specific car for a specific reason. But the rule that covers 99.999, and I can't say enough nines, is use the owner's manual only. Because every time, no matter what year, make, model car you're driving, you pull into a car dealership, they're going to try to sell you a dozen things that are not on the owner's manual. And they're not technically, nobody, I'm not, you're not, nobody is technically savvy enough to know exactly the exceptions. So the exceptions to the owner's manual are minuscule. And that's the reason I don't like to talk about them, because it will enable some service salesman in some Ford dealership or Toyota dealership somewhere to say there are exceptions to the owner's manual and this is one of them. So I'd rather see somebody have a problem with the one exception in a million than to influence the owners of cars to be duped by service salespeople on something they shouldn't do. Owner's manual only. If it's not in the owner's manual for maintenance, do not have it done. End of conversation.
Okay.
Okay.
And for this one other text, again, anonymous, this is a lady that's living up in the Villages up in Central Florida. She's having a few issues with her 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and she wants to find a dealership up there that she can trust, a Toyota dealership that she can trust up in that area. So if you're listening, what I would recommend, go to our gooddealerbaddealer.com.
No, EarlOnCars.com.
EarlOnCars.com.
And there you will find
the Good Dealer, Bad Dealer list, and look for a dealership in your area listed on there. And hopefully we've done some mystery shops in that area, and we'll be able to give you a good recommendation for where to go up there.
Very good. And of course, you've always got the Better Business Bureau. You've got the Google rating. And if you know anybody that might have used that dealership, references are important too. But you should be able to find one on our Good Dealer, Bad Dealer list.
Yeah.
And
one other quick text here from Anne Marie. Should have got this one in a little sooner.
Oh, good morning, Anne Marie.
She says, what is the best and easiest way to clean the film that accumulates on the inside of the windshield?
Good question. I'm
Now-
working on that now, Anne Marie.
She signs it as signed, not as flexible as I used to be.
There you go. That's my
Oh,
problem.
yeah. Aren't we all?
I found that out last weekend.
Go on Amazon and look for an extendable window cleaner. They have these wonderful things now. It's a small pole that actually telescopes out, and it has this triangular shaped cleaning pad on the end of it. Good size thing. And you can spray your windshield with a little, I recommend Windex. It's a great product, just simple Windex. Use that cleaning pad to give it a good scrub in, and then throw a microfiber cloth over the top of it and use that just to buff it clean, and you'll be loving life again.
Okay, Rick, what about me? It's the Cybertruck that I'm working on. Do you know what the windshield looks like on a Cybertruck?
It's probably
On the
worse than
inside.
some of those Pontiac Transports where the windshield is about 8 feet long.
Oh, really? Okay.
And again, that telescoping rod, you
That
just
would
sit in the
work?
seat and just ride along with it, and that's
Okay.
it.
I gotta order that.
It'll make life much nicer.
It'd make me very happy. Okay, do you have anything else for us?
That's got us pretty caught up.
Okay, I'm going to mention before we get to the mystery shopping report. Excuse me for a second, Earl. Did you have anything?
No.
Okay. For the ladies, I mention from time to time about Earl's Nationwide Vigilantes. Well, let me tell you something. What a great place to go, because everyone is helping everyone. But for the ladies, we do have Earl's Vigilantes nationwide. But for the ladies, this is really neat. You would find this more personable, more comfortable, and you could help us build women volunteers, and maybe even go along, maybe on the phone or in some way interact. So if you're listening this morning and you're one of those women who would like to get involved with other women, you're a good negotiator, confident and fair, email us through Earl on cars.com, or you can call the red phone and go to the website. But we could really do a lot for the ladies, and the ladies can help out each other. A sisterhood of, shall we say, smart, honest car buyers looking out for each other. So take advantage of that. Also, we're going to go to the Mystery Shopper Report, but I remind you that you can vote for the Mystery Shop at 772-497-6530. Mystery Shop is from Southern 441 Nissan. So buckle up. It's all yours.
Southern 441 Nissan is in West Palm Beach, and that's, of course, South Florida, the Sodom and Gomorrah of all car dealerships. And so you kind of get what you expect when you buy a car in South Florida. Speaking in the first person is if I were Agent Lightning. I arrived around lunchtime, walked around out front for about 5 minutes before heading inside, where I was greeted by three sales managers. I told them I was interested in the 2026 Milano out front, but that I almost not come inside because of the market adjustment that I'd seen. The Milano was parked outside, had an MSRP of $49,495. The addendum, and it was laminated and lying in the car alongside of, you guessed it, the Monroney label. That added another, hard to believe, $6,968 to the MSRP. It included a $1,973 appearance package and a fourth, let's call it $5,000, $49.95 market adjustment. Now, before I go on, this dealership, Southern 441 Nissan, is owned by Terry Taylor. Terry Taylor is kind of like Howard Hughes. You never see him. Some people question, does he exist? Yeah, he exists. He owns 120 car dealerships privately, which is unusual. He individually is one of the largest dealer groups. AutoNation and a lot of the other big groups are stock, American Stock Exchange, New York Stock Exchange, huge corporations. This guy, Terry Taylor, lives in Palm Beach and probably has homes everywhere else. And he owns 120 dealerships. But people don't know. If you Google him and you try to find out if he owns something, you can't find out because it's owned by agents. And so here on Earl Sterling Cars, you now know Terry Taylor owns this dealership called Southern 441 Nissan. As we go along, ignoring my comment about the market adjustment, they assured me that they take care of me and called out to Yadi, that's Y-A-D-I, one of their sales associates. She came over and asked me to show her which car I was looking at. I showed her the window sticker I'd taken a picture of on my phone. I told them I didn't have a lot of time to do an appointment in the area, and they said, no problem. They were there to help me any way they could. Yadi grabbed the keys, and we went outside to see the car. She wanted me to test drive it, but I didn't want to move the baby car seat over, so I declined. We headed back inside for her to figure out the pricing for me. She went to talk to her sales manager, and they both returned with a photocopy of the Monroney label annotated in a ballpoint pen. Below the MSRP, it was written $5,000 and $44,995. It was dated January 8th, 2026. I then asked the sales manager, do you have Costco pricing? He asked, are you a Costco member? I said, yes, I am. He replied, to be honest, you gotta love it, to be honest, no. Costco is only around $2,500 off. Now, the irony here, of course, is he says, to be honest, and then he lies to you. Costco is only around $2,500 off. I'm doing $5,000 off. And that's exactly the reason you should be a Costco member. So, anyway, I thought to myself, that doesn't sound right. But I wasn't in the mood to ask more questions. Yachty chimed in to say they were also offering 0% financing for 60 months for qualified buyers with Nissan financing. I asked if you could give me a better breakdown of their pricing, whether they have a dealer fee, how much taxes will be, etc. He looked at me frustrated and said that in order to get that, I would need to put my information into the computer. I then asked what exactly they needed, because that's the information I'm going to need. He replied, if you give me your driver's license, we can put it in the system, and then I'll get that for you. I waited for quite a while after she put all my information into their computer. Also, the sales manager seems to have disappeared. I asked if there was anyone else who could help me, and Yadi replied that she would see what she could do and promised to be right back. I waited for about 10 minutes. She returned with the same photocopy of the Monroney label, but now it had more ballpoint pen stating that they would sell me the car out the door with tax, title, plates, and fees for the window sticker price of $49,495. So the deal is full sticker. And, that's not a deal, folks. I explained to her that the way I have always bought cars is I get a printout with the fees and details, and with the final price to take home and show my husband. And then we decide from there whether it's the best choice for us to move forward. Yadi said she understood, proceeded to write down their $1,199 dealer fee at the bottom. And then she wrote out the door they would sell it to me for $49,495, including the electronic registration fee of $389. Of course, that's junk fee. The $389 is not. It's a taxable fee, and they're charging you for it. I shook my head, and said that I had told them up front what my expectations were, and I didn't understand why they wouldn't give me a breakdown of everything, so I could have it ready to come back with. Yachty couldn't give me an answer. I said I'd take my business elsewhere, and I left. They could tell me, they could tell I was very frustrated, but no one tried to talk to me as I walked straight out the door to my car and left. Usually they chase you here. I guess they were tired. They didn't chase Agent Lightning out to the car. So there you have it, a South Florida mystery shopping report. We grade on the curve, try not to do A's unless we absolutely see a perfect report, and not an F unless it's illegal and terrible. So we generally grade in between an A and F, but feel free, if your heart and mind tells you, you could give them an F or an A. But the curve gives, the curve history that we put on Earl cars give other buyers more of an indication of where they could go and where they can't go. And after we hear our input, we have ChatGPT, who has scored this mystery shopping report too, and we'll tell you ChatGPT's score. So,
yeah, go ahead.
Rick?
Before Rick has started, your vote is really very important. 772-497-6530. Join us. Your vote is very important. That is Southern Nissan, 441 Nissan.
West Palm Beach, Florida.
And I already have heard from Stu, and he went there. He gave it an F.
He did?
He did.
Is that our Stu?
That is our
Stu.
Stu. Yeah.
Wow.
Even with the cold he is fighting, he gave him an F. So here we go. Tim Gilliland. Sadly, I could have written my grade days ago, and the report didn't do anything to think I need to change it. Reputation matters. F. Mark H. says, liar, liar. Costco guarantees the lowest price. Junk fees and no transparency, D-. Mark Ryan says D-. Mark Smith says Southern 441 Nissan gets a D- from me. Joseph Kelleher, D-. Fees and failure to provide a written out-the-door price is the reason for the grade. Johnny Z. Fradley says, honestly speaking, I'll give him an F. Brian Sidlatko, to be honest, stay away from Nissan, F. South Florida Two-Step says, fine, D-. $5,000 adjustment. What are they adjusting for? $1,200 dealer fees? And rude employees as well. See if we got any on the text. Not yet. They might yet come in. For me, I hate to be the sheep, but I'm following the crowd on this with D-. Oh my gosh, that place sounds insane.
Yeah, really bad, really bad. Is that it?
That's it for right now. If any more come in, I'll read them on air.
Yes.
Which one? Really, Rick. You know, my vote, it's going to be an F.
Well, I'm going to give you ChatGPT's score, and it's a D. No, you give them a.
They got a D+.
D+, yeah, D+. Oh. And ChatGPT is a little kinder. He's gotten more realistic lately, D+. But Rick,
I agree with him. I say mine still is D-. So
I'm going to give him an F also, and I can't remember my last F. But
I can't either.
I must.
Wow.
I must have, because I tried to stick to my curve thing, and this is so bad. One of your, I think it was YouTube graders, I hit on it. The phrase, to be honest with you, really got me. And then they said Costco only discounts it $2,500, when in fact, as Rick said, Costco's whole program is if you are a Costco auto member, you get by contract, the lowest price you will give to any other customer. So that Nissan Murano, if they were a Costco member, they would have to look up on their books and say, this is the lowest price we ever sold a Nissan Murano for, and we will give it to you for that out-the-door price. So they lied, and they also besmirched, slandered Costco at the same time. So they might even be Costco members. I don't think so, but they might be. So I'm going to give them an F. They are terrible. And then I want to say this. Terry Taylor, Mr. Anonymous, you own 441 Nissan. Now, you don't put your name on the building because you're ashamed. Sue me, all right? You're ashamed. This is lying, cheating, and stealing. And you live here in Palm Beach County. I know you because I remember when you first started in business in South Florida, near Miami, you had a Mazda dealership, and that was back in the 70s, and I was a Mazda dealership. So that was 50 years ago.
Wow.
And I know who you are. Yep. And now you're probably a billionaire. You've always been a millionaire. Now you're a billionaire. And you own 441 Nissan, and they are screwing their customers. So, Terry Taylor, do something about it, will you?
How much money do you want to make, Terry? And you know what was really telling? That ChatGPT gave them a D+, but ChatGPT gave them an F for transparency and also for the information they were telling everybody about Costco. ChatGPT gave them an F. Rick?
Well, Mark H., who had given him a D-, and he's standing by that one, he says, I only award an F if they throw your keys up on the roof. And Kim Appreciates Life says, F for forget about it.
There you go. Okay, we have 2 minutes left. And I'm going to take a moment to thank all of you. You make the show. You're so important to us. Whether we're here or not, you make the show. And I can't thank you. We can't thank you enough for tuning in to Earl on Cars. We'll be right back here next week, same time, 8 to 10 o'clock on the Oldies Channel. Have a wonderful weekend.